For the most part, when you're visiting a college campus, initially you're trying to get a sense of what is it like. It's a very broad, open-ended, in some respects, multifaceted answer that also is no answer at the same time it is an answer. I mean, you're really trying to just get a sense of the place, which means you're on the campus and you're feeling how you feel about being on the campus. There is a point, however, when it goes from being a little more touchy-feely to a little bit more serious, and you start to ask those more in-depth questions, and you start to need more in-depth answers, and you start to require a level of information that is far more, what I would call far more kind of below the surface than just sort of knowing where is this place, what is the population, and what is the food like. And so it's appropriate to start visiting really maybe winter break, spring break of your junior year. I think that's probably the most effective time to do it. I can tell you anecdotally that's when we see the biggest jump in our own visit load. The numbers at CMC tell us that about 25% of all people who visit CMC visit in the 6-week spring break period, which is the junior year. And so basically we're talking late March to April, to the end of April. So that kind of 5 to 6 week period, or whenever Easter falls, whenever the breaks happen to fall, that is the bulk of our visit load. And it makes a lot of sense because you're starting to really get invested in this at a different level. You're starting to bring your family in on a level that maybe have never brought your parents in to the college search process before, and now they want to see the place and they're going to take you to these places and they're going to start having conversations with you about how you feel about them. But the reality is, before that, it's just too early. I mean, if you have taken the time and the energy as a family to put a child through a place like Campbell Hall, for example, you need to get the most out of the Campbell Hall experience. And in my opinion, you're doing a disservice both to yourself and to the student and to the family and to the institution of Campbell Hall if you're taking the student and focusing them on something outside of Campbell Hall freshman year. You know, freshman year is not the time to search for college. Quite frankly, sophomore year is not the time to search for a college. Let the student get the most out of the experience that they're in, and let them live the life they're living, and let them become as much of the person they're going to become before you take that next step. And it's not about delaying development or delaying the search, it's about allowing it to occur naturally, because at the end of the day, you'll be far happier with the process. I wouldn't wish a 4-year college search on my worst enemy, and I work in admissions. So I think, and I like the college search because it's how I do my job. But there's just something about the fact that students mature at this not super predictable but fairly predictable way, and you can capture that, generally speaking, about just after halfway. So if you think of the 4 years and the midpoint would be the end of sophomore year, really just after that halfway mark would be about spring break of junior year, which makes a lot of sense because they can look back on their Campbell Hall experience and say one thing, and begin to now look forward to a collegiate experience because they're over halfway done with the experience that they're in. And that, to me, makes the most sense in terms of timing.